This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
So we've got, you probably heard of mobile drip irrigation or dragon line for most of the, for the businesses. So it's essentially putting drip lines on a center pivot and it's being dragged around. So it's almost like a bubbler, except that it has more hardware and management that has to be dealt with by the farmer compared with a bubbler and a spray. So many farmers are right now also trying different types of sprinkler packages, like what we call a moving plate, the bubbler or moving plate, and many different manufacturers have different variations of this one. So these are the two, and then the other one would be something like this. So there's a lot of engineering going on here, but in most cases, the application is able to apply this water uniformly across the field. So, those are the moving, and then those that are fixed are also like this. So some of them are just spraying the water right around the area where as it goes around, it almost uniformly applies that water. So similar to what I'm showing out here, this is just a fixed plate wherein the water is just being applied in the water. So why are we looking at some of those sprinkler packages? Because not all of them are going to be very useful or at least applicable to each place. So the design should be very careful such that you don't have runoff, you don't have deep percolation, and at the same time you reduce the drift and the evaporation that could possibly come from this irrigation sprinkler packages. So based on the design, most of them are actually very good. What is actually more critical is the way that we design it on the system and the way that we use it. So which drives me to the second point that I'm going to talk about, which is irrigation scheduling. So when do you know you have to irrigate, and how much do you have to irrigate your field? That's a tough question sometimes. So let's go back to the basic. So if I'm a plant, I'm out in the field, I have to cool down because I am under the sun. So actually 95 to 98% of the water use of the plant is being used for cooling. So most of the water that is being extracted by the plant is used for cooling. So if we are able to know how much water is on the soil, how much water is being evaporated, and how much water is being applied, we have an idea of when to irrigate and how much to irrigate. So the water that is being used by the plant for cooling and for beneficial use, we call it crop water use. Or a more technical term, we call it evapotranspiration. Or to shorten it, it's just an ET. So that's essentially what we are trying to figure out in some of this irrigation scheduling. And fortunately for Kansas, we have an app for that. It's called CanSched. Anybody remembered about the movie Ratatouille? That says, oh, anybody could cook. Anyone could cook. Well, we have a version of that. Anyone could sched. So that's why we call it CanSched. Hopefully that you will be able to schedule irrigation system based on known facts like evapotranspiration.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.